Everyone's Missing and the Murdered is a weekly YouTube channel that covers the topic of missing and or murdered individuals from the state of Maryland. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified when the next cases are released. 55-year-old widow Mildred Louise Williams from Berlin, Maryland, loved a good party. She was preparing for a family vacation on July 29, 1991. Mildred lived with her elderly mother and was soon leaving for her cleaning job that day. She told her mom she would be back soon. When Mildred didn't come home later in the day, her mother called Mildred's daughter Dawn. Dawn arrived at the house at 7:30 p.m. in Mildred's truck. She tells her grandmother that the truck was found in the parking lot of Food Lion in Ocean City, Maryland. Dawn tells her grandmother that Mildred was probably out drinking. When Mildred did not come home by midnight, Dawn's grandmother told Dawn that if she didn't call police, she would. When police arrived, Dawn tells them that her mom just ran off with a man and that her grandmother was just being overdramatic. The grandmother tells police that Mildred would never miss the upcoming family's trip. When Mildred's siblings got wind of her disappearance, they headed to Berlin, Maryland to investigate. They found Mildred's truck squeaky clean and her safe empty. Mildred's brother decided to get a psychic involved after he read a magazine article about a psychic in Maryland that helped on another case. The psychic agreed to assist. The psychic saw visions of the number 335 and a building with a metal roof. When the family was asked about the 335 number, they replied that 335 was the number of Dawn and her husband Billy Warren's address. The family learned that 2 weeks prior, Mildred had an argument with Dawn about Dawn withholding her son from seeing her. Mildred Louise was so upset about not seeing her grandson, she threatened to disinherit her and Billy. The family took the psychic to Dawn's house. For some reason, the psychic got a weird feeling about Billy and told one of the family members to not leave her alone with him. When the group went into Dawn and Billy's home, the psychic began to have a severe headache and explained it as feeling as if someone hit her in the head. And throughout it all, Dawn and Billy was very standoffish. When they went outside, the psychic felt the need to walk down a dirt path on the property, but Billy persuaded her not to. When the psychic returned to her home, she had visions of a buzzsaw and the feeling of drowning in mud. It was then she realized Mildred Louise was murdered. She called the family and told them that she felt Billy killed Mildred and buried her. Even though the family told police of what the psychic saw, of course they did not believe them. In October 1991, the case got a new detective. And so, in investigating, the detective got in touch with the psychic. The new detective asked Dawn and Billy to take a polygraph test, but they refused. So, the detective, along with other officers, went to Dawn and Billy's house to look into the psychic's claims. They figured, what did they have to lose? When the psychic began to go toward the dirt path that the psychic was interested in, Billy Warren came out of the house and confessed to one of the officers outside. He confessed that Mildred had come to their house on July 29th. He was home alone, and they had argued over the inheritance issue. He confessed to hitting her in the head with a hammer and promptly burying her down the dirt path. He cleaned up her car and left it in Food Lion's lot. Billy also admitted that when the psychic came to his house and talked about being drawn to the dirt path, he panicked. After everyone left, Billy dug Mildred up, dismembered her with a buzzsaw, and reburied her in the shed with a metal roof. On December 12, 1991, portions of Mildred's body was recovered from the shed. During this part of the investigation, a forensic analysis was conducted inside the home. There they found evidence of blood splatter. The hammer was recovered from the Pocomoke River. The final piece to this puzzle was Mildred's daughter and Billy's wife, Dawn. At first, Billy said Dawn wasn't involved, until he admitted later that Dawn helped him clean up the house. Obviously, Billy was charged with murder, and Dawn was arrested and charged with accessory to murder. She pled no contest and was sentenced to 5 years. Billy pled guilty to second-degree murder in November 1992. He was sentenced to 20 years. When Dawn was released from jail, she received her mother's inheritance. How? I have no idea, but she did. And Dawn and Billy were divorced in 2000, and by 2014, Billy Warren was out of jail. Thank you for joining me this week. If there's a Marilyn's Missing or Murder case you'd like to see on this channel, email me at marilynsmissing@gmail.com. Twitter is Marilyn's M&M. Music is by Silent Vengeance. Sources will be listed in the outro. I'll see you again next week. Be kind to one another. You never know what will happen tomorrow.